did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about this, Cowboys?
You know what? We're going to keep it the same vibe. Yes, sir. Yeah. Hey. Yo, what is good? What is good, everybody? How y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? Happy Friday to everybody. If you're coming in here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the content, man, so you don't miss when I'm going live. Y'all know I've been aiming for every Friday, and we got to do it right. We got to, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all, but we got a lot to talk about today. Salute to everybody that's coming in here in the building. Shout out to C. Burleson and DXF Flash in the building. If you come in here, like I said, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the content. A lot to talk about today. We got a hefty, very hefty docket. It's gonna be a very long show. It's gonna be compacted. A lot of stuff I want to like give my my take on. A lot of stuff it's just been happening, especially this week. I got the combine on in front of me. You know, I've been scouting away. I'm almost done with my entire I'm gonna be done with like 70 prospects. You know what I'm saying? But I love this time of year because this is where like legit pure football be happening and everything like that. But in the speech, but if you haven't already, and you've been lit up under a rock, listen, man. The Dallas Cowboys, breaking news, they have placed or are beginning to place or place the franchise tag on our very own George Pickens. It is the non-exclusive franchise tag. If y'all don't know the difference, the exclusive one is where pretty much George Pickens' side will lose like all rights. Because the exclusive one is basically, I would say, is signaling that we're trying to retain you no matter what, and you're giving all your rights to the Dallas Cowboys because that's the one, like, it's a placeholder and we're trying to negotiate a new deal. But in the exclusive one, like, all the power is in the Cowboys' hand. Like, they can trade him if they want to, but everything like that. But the non-exclusive one is a tag for where we want to retain his rights, but also we're going to allow him to test the markets and actually secure a deal if he wants to the market and everything like that. And like teams can negotiate and they can do what's called and sign an offer sheet if like they have a terms and everything like that can meet whatever David Mulligeta's terms ends and George is, and the Dallas Cowboys has once the offer sheet is on the table, they can choose to either match that offer and choose not to, and literally give up George Pickens, and in return they will receive at least 2 first-round picks with doing it. So if the team wants to basically be able to sign Pickens from us, they will have to give us like that compensation, which is a very hefty compensation. But I want to talk about what this represents, because I think a lot of people are some people are going to elaborate on it, but it's basically, having given a control market to George Pickens and what this means. And I think it signals a couple of things that we can almost for sure guarantee. One, I believe David has definitely sent in his first offer, and that his first offer is probably so wild, the Cowboys like, man, yeah, prove that number to me. Prove somebody is willing to pay you that. You know what I'm saying? That's what it guarantees for me. That basically David probably has submit like his number, George's initial number is probably so astronomically high, or not even high as an APY. Maybe like it's a lot of the contract is guaranteed. There's a lot more nuances to this. Maybe the years are so short. We know David, and we should know that the reputation, and he's a big variable in these contract negotiations, that he's very radical in his approach, very extreme in his approach. So whatever he suggested, I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys definitely having second thoughts of like giving him the initial thought. Of course, like they're not gonna match that top number, but they're probably starting in a range that they don't even believe Pickens' market is. And I think that's where a lot of, you know what I'm saying, the disconnect has been going on in a space that I want to give my take on and everything like that. So David on that BS again. I mean, it ain't on that. It ain't no BS, man. Look, that's David's job. Y'all can't get mad at David's job. The moment, hey, look, y'all get mad at David, but look, man, the moment you hired David, this is what you hired. You hired a dog. And that's why I'm trying to get people to understand, like, that, you know, we got to read in between the lines from even just the hiring of David for George Pickens. What does it signify and everything like that? Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to, you know, qualify? Oh, so there is another, like, outlet to this. The Dallas Cowboys don't even have to do this route. They can still trade Pickens straight up, not even worry about matching the offer. And they can also still, this is also a play for them to still have some control, because maybe, like, David's number and the market that he's commanding, they don't trust Pickens' market is going to be that high. So an other ploy where, like, this is not the first time this ever happened before. This has also happened to Devontae Adams with the Packers. This has also happened with Lamar Jackson. We did this with Dak. But for everyone who want to keep Pickens, like Lamar Jackson's case, where he tried to negotiate with the market, didn't find anybody, and they ended up, you know, signing a full deal. You know, ended up getting a deal done because Lamar realized, like, it wasn't nobody out there that's willing to pay him, even though it was really goofy, but they just didn't want to give up that 2 first-round picks for him. And he came on back because it's basically saying, like, hey, it wasn't your market, so I'm gonna just sign what I can get and everything like that. So that's the Dallas Cowboys' angle. They still probably want Pickens. They just probably don't believe in these extreme terms for David. So, like, we're forgetting, like, this front office is now between. I mean, this battle is not between the front office and Pickens. It's between front office and David, and this is their first initial ploy and everything like that. So, yeah, League Commander, some team would pay for Pickens $40 million, but no team will give up 2 number ones. Pickens and the agent know that. Buckle up. Exactly. They know that. So, and that's like people are saying, you know, this is a big ploy because the key date is July 15th. I think that's where they have to sign a deal. If not, he's locked in. So, like, yeah, the key thing that we do not know is how David is going to fight this. Like I said, for you to get this pedigree that you have some strategies in the play that's may can give you another route. Like, we may go the other route where we don't even, like, do the like, we don't, like, it doesn't call us to you. It doesn't call us somebody giving up the 2 first-round picks like the traditional way with a non-exclusive tag. Because, like I said, even though the non-exclusive tag is on Pickens, the Dallas Cowboys still can choose to trade Pickens, and it you know, I believe, like, they will still have to negotiate with David and George. Like, if they can't get into a deal, they can still trade him if we can't get to a deal. So, like what League Commander is saying in there, maybe David has a way of forcing that issue, but I know the deadline is going to make this deal. I will say that. But there is a chance where we can still get the deal done. But here's what people don't understand, and probably what the Dallas Cowboys don't understand is the market. People still don't believe in the market. And, you know, I got into it with somebody today, you know, pretty prominent in the sphere I want to transition to. And his name was, you know, Mike Fisher. You feel me? And shout out to Mike Fisher, but I'll go through it. We had a little powwow, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's the off season. We understand that. This is normal, everything like that. He said, question, which first would they have to give up though? I think it's either this year and next year. No, I think it has to be this year. Yeah, I think it has to be this year. It has to be this year. So here's my thing. So I quote tweeted, because I think 105.3 Fan, you know, they put out like a video, you know, of them having on Mike Florio, and Mike Florio basically saying that the market is 40, and that the tag is usually behind the market and everything like that, which is like pretty common knowledge and everything like that. You know, shout out to Mike Florio for just stating that he's saying the wide receiver 1 market is 40 million. And I just, because I was trying to, you know, basically educate Cowboy Nation, because there's been flutterings around there that his market is 30s, mid 30s, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, I believe that the market for wide receiver 1s has, because of the cap going up, has went up to 40. You know, so Mike Fisher has some things. He says who? I just put, you know what I'm saying, Mike Florio. You know, just me doing some things, you know what I'm saying? Like, and everything like that. Shout out to Sticky Cannabis in the building. Hold on, man. He said trade Pickens for picks. We gonna get to that. Shout out to Sticky Cannabis though. Let me turn this off so I can turn this on, so y'all can hear when people like, shout out to Sticky Cannabis, man. I appreciate you, man. But yeah, so like I'm gonna go over the situation because I'm gonna get a context. You know, he says who? I said Mike Florio. And I think then he said, Lou, anything is possible, but a sincere for you. Do you think he really knows about this team? That's not, you know, I don't know why was this a question. Do I think Mike Florio knows more about this team more than me? Like, he may be a national person, salute to him, but like, I'm going to like I said to him, like, it's in my, like, so I didn't even go that route. I was just telling him why I agree with Mike Florio. It's not even because I'm taking his word for it. Like, I laid out the math problem. I said, in my opinion, to calculate the market value, the range is fairly simple math, and it correlates. All you need is a previous player contract. Take an example of CeeDee Lamb, and the same or similar tier receiver, like that's basically in the same range of Pickens, takes the cap that was literally reported on the year when CeeDee Lamb signed, and divide that by the player's reported APY. This is going to give you the percentage of the cap that player commanded. Okay, so now that you have that, you know what I'm saying, we have the percentage. We can look up, and it's just reported today, breaking news if you didn't know, that the new reported cap for the overall team's cap is 301 million. So I like, with the math, like if you was to get 13% of the last time like CeeDee, signed, which was probably like 265 million or 285 million, if you take that same percentage with 301, you will get a number close to 40 million. And that's why I'm saying confidently, I literally said, this will show you a very close approximate based off similar players' cap of the percentage allocated while including inflation. Basically, what I calculated doing proportional math, because CD commanded this percentage in this year when the overall market was here, and if it goes here, I can show you basically the proportional exponential increase. In other words, when the overall cap increases, all positional market increases based off percentage, because all they're doing is they're negotiating a percentage of cap. And I basically took CD. So I said, with CD's same contract, if he was to sign the same contract today, due to the inflation, it will be $40 million. That's why I am implying that indeed that the market is $40 million. What am I saying? I'm saying it's just based on math. You know what I'm saying? So like he said, Lou, them big fancy words, some big fancy words, but you didn't answer my friendly question. You cited Mike Florio as a $40 million source. Did I cite him as a source? I just said that he stated that. Did I cite Mike Florio as a source? And he said, who knows more about your Cowboys, you or Mike Florio? Obviously, you and me know more. But the question is not about George Pickens. It's about the wide receiver market. That's what he said. He said the market. So why I bring all this up here, you see, we had a little bit more to say. He was just saying, judging is not correlated, second team all pro. I'm going to prove to y'all today that honestly, all those accolades, those all pros, it does not matter when it comes to the contract negotiations. I'm going to prove that today. And I got all that to do that. You know what I'm saying? And like we kept going back and forth. He mentioned that it wasn't a chess move. You know what I'm saying? Bad chess move by me. I guess he been watching me because I play chess. I had to tell him, hey, I'm an all-state chess champion. You know what I'm saying? I know the real reason why you are constantly going back and forth with me on this small but insignificant. I understand why you are going back and forth, but it didn't stop there. Our good old guy, salute Mike Fisher. He had some other things to say about this, and we're gonna get into it today. You feel me? He had some more things to say. You know what I'm saying? He had a video. Make sure to check him out. I'll put the videos in. I'll put the videos down there.
To paraphrase a funny former cowboy, what do market value mean? And why are otherwise smart people?
My bad earlier. It was probably coming out as double audio, but I just fixed it. I literally, so I probably fixed it for y'all.
People thinking that its meaning, market value, suddenly morphs into something new because it involves the Dallas Cowboys. Mike Fisher reporting from Frisco, home of the Cowboys. This is the Fishbowl. That is the Star. And away we go, Cowboys peeps. 77,000 fish heads in Cowboys Nation. 500,000 watching and listening and reading. 77,000. Econ 101 class, because of CowboysRoundtable.com. Why is it so hard to understand? I'm not a math guy.
So, if I was to ask him about this video and what inspired it, by the way, he posted this video the same day. He would probably say, he probably wasn't talking to me. I showed you the conversation and I presented math. And he mentioned math in the video. I wonder who he's talking about.
But I took a, Econ 101 class because they made me. And I've got the internet. So I can figure it out.
So, he just said you don't need math. He has the internet and he took econ class. Mike Florio, you need math for econ, but continue. You probably got something. Let's continue.
Why is this so hard to understand regarding George Pickens' market value, which is now suddenly, according to social media, now it's $40 million a year. Diddly dink, it's what? I thought it was 25, then 28, then 30, then 32, then 34. Now it's 40?
So, and now let me give y'all some context. Mike Fisher and a guy at Dallas Morning News, got his name. As far as my knowledge, they was the only ones that basically released what, in some articles of two players who are up for a contract, their projected markets. I think he did one for Aubrey and he did one for Pickens. For Aubrey, of course, he probably said something about, I think it was 7 or 6, something like that. But of course, y'all remember that magical little number of $30 million? Yeah, that's coming from him also. So this is probably another reason why, he had to make a video on this. I understand the stance.
Where'd that come from? Who says? Let's do Econ 101. And again, I'm a dope, but even I can figure this out. Number 2 pencils, please. And those of you who are smarter than me about math, feel free to chime in and tell me, well, Fish, you're missing this key factor. Please do. Fact 1 about Econ 101. A product's market value, player, product, mine, yours, a product's market value is not what the product thinks he's worth. It's, and I can quote right from econ books, it's the price at which the product can be bought or sold.
Mike, in that definition, it literally has the key phrase on our entire thinking behind that the literal market of wide receiver is different from somebody today and tomorrow. You literally just said at which, which is a location by definition and a location in time. But continue though. You got more, don't you? You got more.
Think about it. Fact 2, straight out of the textbook. Discussing a product's open market value when the product is not on the open market is moot. This really applies to George.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of people's this is a lot of people's argument for that. And I understand it, but at the same time, I'm gonna get into this. I hope y'all understand the way the NFL does business in terms of these contracts, and it's a lot more extreme and a lot different from other sports. Like, I think we're the only sport that has the franchise tag. Somebody put in the chat if I'm wrong. We're the only sport that has a concept of a franchise tag, which basically we know the extension of use coming up, but we're not going to let you hit the open market. We don't claim rights on you to not, hit the open market. Can you ask yourself why would they not let a player hit the open market? What? Because we got to understand, when players get paid, this is the whole reason why in the NBA there's a CBA. We got to understand why there's an NFLPA and there's a negotiation agreement. We got to understand that there's a whole negotiation for the players and the ownership group. Because, as I quote, there's an old saying that goes, the difference between us and animals is rules. Somebody was literally who was abusing those rules at one point. Some side. We don't know who it is. Kind of got to guess, but we got to understand why. This is whenever a player gets paid, it is a war between agents and players and owners. Just have that concept in y'all mind. It's a war between that. If they let a high-profile player, like let's say Justin Jefferson, hit the open market, people will start bidding. And when people start bidding, what happens? The price goes up and probably gets to a point where it's uncontrollable. So to just generalize and say that he's not on the open market is correct, but it's also just a blanket statement. Continue though.
His open market value is he's not on the open market.
We know that.
He's not going to be on the open market.
We know that.
Fact 3. And this will get in the way of pop psychology now, where we all want to feel good about ourselves. And that's, that's wonderful. You want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm going to go conquer the world today. Good. But fact 3, you are not worth what you think you're worth. And tell yourself that. You are not worth what you think you're worth. Your product is not worth what you think it's worth. You are only worth, it is only worth what somebody will pay you.
If y'all have any grandparents living, and I know this is controversial, but one of my favorite shows as a kid I used to watch, and I know he's in trouble, but The Cosby Show. And it was one time, he was Cliff Huxtable was getting a present, and the family was preparing a big presentation for the wife. It was her birthday. And they did this little bit in there because she was getting up there in age where he was literally asking, he had 4 or 5 kids, and each of the kids represented a different decade in her life. And the thing they were using is that it was a little punchline. They kept asking each one, how much was a head of lettuce? He'll go for the little girl will represent the 30s. He'll ask her how much a lettuce. Oh, it's 2 cents. Come to the 60. You know the 40s. How much is a head of lettuce? Oh, it's 40 cents. You know what I'm saying? You come to the 60. How much is a head of? It was funny because it was showing her age and how times are not the same. But it also is a very basic Econ 101 depiction of inflation. More money is being printed. The value of a dollar diminishes even more. If we were all millionaires, everyone on the United States, Dollar Tree wouldn't exist, or Dollar Tree will at least probably turn into $1,000. They can't sell stuff for $1. It'll go out of business. We can talk about Econ 101, but you just sent a blanket statement. I not think what I'm worth, what I think I'm worth. That's another blanket statement. Another blanket statement.
Do colleges not make journalism majors take Econ 101 anymore? Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, and I think he's done this a couple.
Let's skip ahead.
If you think that, dear friends, think again. I am all about 105.3 The Fan. Sean and RJ, but I'm still going to rip everything that he says. I'm not ripping you, I'm ripping him. So here's Florio on the radio. And he's announcing that George Pickens' market value is now $40 million a year. And I have no idea where he's getting that number.
Like I said again, do y'all see how he's twisting these words? Mike Florio and 105.3 fans said, they put it plainly. I didn't play the video, but they literally wrote his words in the caption. I can show it for y'all. You know, I'm all about showing. I'm all about showing. But let me go back. It's okay. You can go back. Go back. What does it say right here? The markets. He said, did it says George Pickens? They were talking about the general franchise tag lags behind. He said the markets, basically the market's value is $40 million and the tag is 28. But when we're listening here to Mike, shout out to Mike. Mike is saying that Georgia's market. No. We're not saying, we're not making them no, Mike Fisher. We're saying the market for wide receiver is $40 million. The market. And he understands this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep going.
Please do hit the like button. It tells YouTube the kind of programming via all go. If you find it to be entertaining and informative, would you please go to cowboysroundtable.com and mavsroundtable.com. The tag's 28 million. So the Cowboys can say, we'll tag him this year, we'll take. The second part of that is true. The Cowboys can tag him this year and tag him next year. Now do a little bit more math. There's a 20% increase from year to year. So you tag him this year at 28.
Did you catch that? Did y'all catch that? So he acknowledges that the tag is not the same because it's based on the market, but we can't acknowledge that the wide receiver market won't be the same. Did y'all catch that?
You have contractual control. You have the right to do that. You tag him again next year, probably be 33.6. That totals 60.6 million for 2 years. The Cowboys have contractual control for 2 years. So Pickens' real value is 2 years, 60.6 million. That's 30.3 million APY. His market value is 30.3 million.
He got that number, but so now we see where his market value is. We're low balling Pickens based off of the tag. That's not how you. No. And I see you, JVB boy. You said the fair contract should be 35 million API. I'm gonna tell you why, JVB boy. That's not even fair. That right there, if he gets that, that is a huge, and I do mean huge, team friendly deal in terms of Pickens. And I don't see that happening, because if you wanted a team friendly deal, why in the hell did you hire David? Why did you hire David? Because we know there is nothing team friendly about David. So let's I appreciate Mike, and that's enough for that. Let me go in and let me show you why. I hope y'all can see my screen, bro. This is the APY right here. This is what the market looks like, and this is what I was trying to tell y'all how to do this. You know what I'm saying? Right now, CD is at 34 million. Okay, CD's at 34. Justin Jefferson is at 35, and Jamar Chase is at 40. But here's what y'all don't understand. It's about when they sign this contract. When they sign this contract, look who he's above. DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, 32. They're not too far behind. AJ Brown, and Mom Ryan say Brown 30, Ayuk 30. So the market around this time, they probably all signed around the time, was around 30 to 33 million. This $30 million, let me tell you why this is some bull. So look, I'm gonna look it up right now on my phone. Let's take Garrett Wilson's deal. When did Garrett Wilson sign extension? It was July 17, 2025. And what was the overall team cap reported for everyone? Hold on, let me get this. It's July 17, 2025, right? What was 2025 NFL cap? It was at 279.2 million. So we can take Garrett Wilson, which is 32.5. So 279, hold on. 279 divided by 32. Back up, hold on. Let me do it the other way. 32.5 divided by 279. He commanded about 11% of the cap, 12. It's 0.116. Now, that's how much he commanded on the cap. The new cap this year is 301 million. So if we do this times 301, it'd be $35 million. So in order for him to, so that's if he signs a Garrett Wilson type deal. But here's the key. Do y'all really think George Pickens view himself in the same category as a Garrett Wilson? Let's do CD Lambs. We already did. I think we already did CD Lamb. CD signed his extension in 2024. What was the 2024 cap? 255. Ooh, wee. 255. CD Lamb's APY is 34. 34, hold on. 34 divided by 255. It's 0.13, which is about 13%. If we do that times the 301, that's where we get 40 million. So literally, if this is why like this is the math, what y'all saying is completely wrong. And this is why that $35 million contract talking about it would be a fair deal. No, that's not a fair deal, because he doesn't view himself. CeeDee Lamb is not going to view himself in the same light as a Garrett Wilson. I mean, not CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. He's going to view himself equal or above to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb signed his deal, and I just showed you the math for that. If CeeDee Lamb was to sign the same deal today with the same cap commanding 13%, he'll get $40 million. Thus, the market is $40 million. And it's already been confirmed, because it's already been projected that Puka Nacua is finna sign a deal for $43 million. So that's gonna be even more, like literally even more firepower for David Mulugeta. The market is $40 million. I hope y'all understand that, because of the inflation. APY is a fan, no, but Lando, the thing is, APY literally is literally the bar that sets the entire parameters of the other contract. I know it's a fanfare sticker, but if we're literally taking the APY, the annual per year, is what literally, that's what they argue the total guarantee off of, the fully guaranteed. That's what everything is argued off of. That's if you're, the more APY you get, the more guaranteed you'll get. It's a correlate. It's probably the biggest correlation variable within a contract. You're not gonna get all your APY. I understand there's other aspects of it, but I'm comparing, because that's what these. The reason why APY matters, because when people argue, look at these contracts. Look at this. Waddle 28, then 28.7 for T Higgins, then 29, then 30, then 30.2. All the agents are trying to do is just literally leapfrog the APY. Because that's the whole name of the game. Puka's new, Lando, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that, because Puka's they literally just released it saying it was gonna be about they said it's gonna be 43, which is big, more than what I'm saying. And if and when they do that, that's what we're arguing. There's no way he's gonna get 35 when Justin Jefferson with the cap of literally with. There's no, I hope you understand. Look at the APY. Do you see how every player is literally advancing more than the next, a little bit more than the next? It's because, and there'll be a big jump in between these years, is when these guys sign a contract. It is taking account of the inflation of the entire team's cap. They are arguing a percentage of the cap. CeeDee Lamb got 13% of the cap for his contract. If David is going to literally be arguing, he's going to be arguing a percentage. He's going to be arguing a percentage. But Lou, wide receiver 2 get a different price range. T Church, what is it? Y'all was just fighting us this entire time saying that you view George Pickens as a wide receiver 1. Did you not see what happened this year? You know what I'm saying? Did you not just see what happened this year? Y'all were arguing me. The reason why we shouldn't trade him for Max Crosby is because he's a wide receiver 1. But now here comes the negotiations. Now you want to pay him like a wide receiver 2. And when CeeDee Lamb went down, he still carried. If y'all gonna sit here and look me in my face and knowing how prideful George Pickens is, and thinking to himself he's gonna take a wide receiver 2's contract, either you're being delusional or you do not know your own players. First of all, here's the main thing that y'all are understanding. The main contract that he wants to get over is this number right here in DK Metcalf. High, because the team that drafted him literally sent him out for this guy here, DK Metcalf. This contract is gonna be personal. The same thing, literally the same words uttered from Dak's mouth. Some contracts are personal. This contract is going to be personal. The whole narrative around his name when he left the Steelers was that he was not a wide receiver 1. He was a cancer. They fleeced us and everything like that. And he had way better numbers than him. That 35, he's going to want more than that. He's going to want this year's wide receiver 1 numbers. You feel me? I can't. He said link you in. I can't link you in, Lando. This is a like I'm not doing this from like directly from Restream. Now I had to build this show. Willie Stovall said great stuff. Lou, appreciate the info. T-Church, you T-Church, can you literally can you look me in my eye and think that, do you think George Pickens views himself as a wide receiver too? Lou, the argument was not to lose GP3, man. Most of it, what I remember GP3 and if not Max Crosby, then trade. No, like the thing is, we were arguing that to trade player for player, but most people were saying like, why would you do that? Keep the two wide receiver ones together. But at the same time, you're telling me that you, in the argument, you viewed him as a wide receiver one, but now in terms of contracts, he's a wide receiver two. This is where it's not adding up. It's not adding up. You know what I'm saying? Where are you getting those numbers from, Lando? No, but what the Cowboys brought him in, exactly. They brought him in here to be a wide receiver too. It's not about we can't look. We know the Cowboys want to pay him wide receiver two money. We're not arguing that side. The whole point is, can we look between the lines? If George Pickens didn't believe highly of himself, why did he hire David Mulligetta? He said the wide receiver. T-Church, you're literally going against the whole philosophy of him. And you know what? T-Church, this don't even matter. You know why it don't matter? Because the play, this is why when people was bringing up accolades and comparing it to receivers and everything like that, that shit doesn't matter when it comes. I hope you understand that. Your play just gets you into a tier. This is the quarterbacks, if y'all can see my screen. See, the thing is, your play only matters enough to get you in the room. Once you're in the room, you can argue more APY than the next guy. And that's a fact. You know why I know this? Patrick Mahomes, who signed his contract 6 years ago, is being leapfrogged. Look at the guys in front of him. Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray. Shout out to Hurts. Lamar Jackson. Shout out to them. Brock Purdy. Jared Goff. So when people want to bring up those yards, he only had one good season, which I don't agree with. He was a wide receiver one with the Steelers. He got over 1,000 yards once. He validated it once he got with us. Like he had it with Russell Wilson. This is why those don't matter. That literally doesn't matter. All your play has to get you to a tier of quarterbacks. Do you see the drop off, right? $50 million, all that. All these guys are making more. If play matters about contracts, Mahomes will be making more on an APY scale. Yeah, you see, Lando, that's what I'm saying. I'm not using Spotrac. That's you. I don't use Spotrac. Spotrac has been proven to be inaccurate, very inaccurate. They were off when it came because I remember last year when it was around the time for Micah, I think they were saying Micah's value was 35, 37, something like that. It was like 38. And we did the correlation math between cap percentage yielded, compared it to took literally somebody who's in his tier, took his contract when he signed, calculated with inflation, and we literally got close to what he got right now. I think Spotrac, I think Spotrac is be quick to be early, and that's why they be inaccurate, because they don't calculate in the inflation of the market. This is why, in terms of team building, I'm building a bigger theory on y'all on why the cap is important, because there's a theory on why there's only about not even three max players per team, and it's because of the market. When the cap increases, everybody's market increases by law of inflation. I know that the guarantees aren't, but we're just talking from just APY standpoint. I know the guarantees fluctuate. We're talking about APY because, like I said, the APY sits the entire contract. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. Let someone be bold and offer him that high number. T Church, that's the look what I'm showing you. Look at these quarterbacks. If play really matters, Jared Goff would not be making more money than Mahomes. Once you are like the quarterbacks, once you say you prove that you are a franchise, look what the cutoff is. Baker Mayfield, which is, in my opinion, the cutoff of franchise quarterbacks. And look what the drop off of money. 33 to 20. It's like that in every position group. Here's the edge rushers. Michael with the 46. Look, Aiden Hutchinson came right under him. The market for edge rusher, a premium edge rusher of these caliber, it's going to be around 42, 43, 43, you know what I'm saying? Million, you know what I'm saying? Look at the cutoff at Nick Bosa. And this is what we're trying to prove to y'all how rare edges is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7. Hines, we got 34. Well, no, that's Nick. Hines got 28. That's a $6 million drop. And then this is the next tier of guys. This is what they go in and arguing, man. This is why I said we put too much emphasis. Your play gets you in the room. Once you in the room of those guys, you can argue the next APY. Lou, let's not overthink this. He got the right to talk to other teams. Well, I understand it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My whole argument was the market. You know what I'm saying? We can keep going though. That's all I wanted to show on that. But you know what I'm saying? We can go to the next subject. I just wanted to show y'all and just get y'all ready because the number that's being reported is 30, way off. Way off. And my shout out Mike Fisher, his thinking of it, his thinking of the 30 million, which he reported, is because of the franchise tag, which is incredibly inaccurate. Because it's a known fact that the franchise tag market value lags behind the actual value of the market. That's a known fact. And that's every position. He literally proved how it goes up every year because he was saying how he understands this. So we can't be throwing around previous numbers and having it in our mind that GP views himself in the same conversation with these guys and not think he's going to try to warrant that. But I understand it, you know, like, hey, the tag is in place. It signals a lot of things. A lot of things can go right or wrong, but you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I think 33. You T-shirts, you think 33 is the real starting point? Yeah, let's just move on. T-shirts, if he views himself as a wide receiver 1, why would he take the 33, which is a previous? That's not even with that. You think he views himself on the same level as a Garrett Wilson? Actually, below Garrett Wilson. Because Garrett Wilson took 33 with a lesser cap. But we can keep going though. I don't want to stay on this all too long. The next one, shout out to, 105.3 fan. We're going to get into the next, it's draft season and everything like that. And I'm excited. You got my point. I mean, as long as you got my point, teacher, you just think, you know what, teacher, you're right. In order for him to remain here, I think it's going to be around that number. And honestly, I don't think he get that number with David. He got to fire David. That's just me. Because it's the same thing. I'm just going off previous history. Because T. Higgins had David at one point, and remember they was in a tussle with Cincinnati, and he literally had to fire David in order to go to the table with Jamar Chase and take a lower deal. So it's possible. I don't know if it's possible with David. He's gonna have to fire David. That's just me. Cole Cap, shout out Cole Cap. He said 36 to start. Nah, I believe it's 40, y'all. I really do believe it's 40. I believe 40 is the new cap because of inflation. I really do. And that's just me arguing off percentage. I think I think he views himself on the same level as CeeDee Lamb. And if CeeDee Lamb, based off CeeDee Lamb signed his contract 2 years ago, which is, you know what I'm saying, probably like $50 million in deficit in cap, like 50 less. They just reported his 301. If he was to sign the same if CD was to sign the same contract today, CD would get the $40 million he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. But yeah, let me move on. So like I said, let's Will McClay spoke. I got Will McClay, I got Christian Parker, and I got Clay Nams. They spoke about some very good things we need to talk about, and I want to react to, give us a clue on where they're gonna go in the draft, how they draft, how they see it, and everything like that. Yeah, like I said, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the content if y'all are wherever y'all watching from. Like I said, yeah, let's get right into it. Let me see if I can, I should have put timestamps for me. Here we go.
Several years having to deal with new defensive coordinators. Talk about kind of like juggling chainsaws a little bit, I guess, with everything, you're like, okay, because you're really good at getting players for your coaches, but how has that been the transition of scouting all year for a particular coach, and then all of a sudden that thing flips at the end of the year for you?
It's the challenge. It's the stuff that makes you great if you can adjust to it. If you're not, then we fall behind. What we have to do is adjust to it. I think you sit and you listen, you understand the schemes, like defensively and what we're trying to do, and then how things fit. I think this defensive staff is very, very good at explaining what they want.
Price from Notre Dame. Is that the other Notre Dame back? I think I liked him too. I need to look at his film, but I remember seeing his film on what's the name film, Love Film. So yeah, I'll do that. I'm getting my list ready on who I'm gonna do film reviews on. I didn't scout out like 40 players, so many players. Yeah, but I'm just comprising my full list before I even touch it. Then I'm gonna do like I did last year. It's gonna be like top 10 for each position generally, and then I'm gonna come back after each. I'm gonna do a top 10, just because I do draft content. Like it's not gonna be Cowboy. I'm just doing top 10 like who I see. Then I'm gonna come back and do a live show of the top 10 who the Cowboys should target per position. Because we're gonna listen to our coach because they're gonna give us clues who they and what they're looking for,
why they want it, and how they're going to use it. And we've said this before about coaches, but when you look at the process that they go through,
that's what I'm saying. I explained to JBB boy, like, it's not about skins. It's not. You have to do enough to just get in the room. Like quarterback, you feel me? Yeah. Oh, he was at 5. Okay, UAPB. Okay, but yeah, it's not about skins. Like 1,400 and a 1,000-yard receiver. Now the narrative on your name, people see you as a wide receiver 1. You are in that top echelon, like we're quarterback. But we agree, disagree.
That this staff is going through together, it helps me and our staff be better at our job because they're very meticulous about certain things and why.
I was going to ask you this: and you've got some coaches on defense that are really young, they're coming from college ball, but been at really good programs with players. Do they ever ask you, like, okay, because of your experience in the NFL, do they ever say, hey, we want this kind of guy, are we right on a right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you've been in this, and they're kind of like new to the whole process of what you could sit down and tell you. I could tell you the nickel corner with the Giants or the Buccaneers and all that. They really don't know that yet, and how that because you know how to win in your division,
right? But they know football.
See, and this is the thing, I respect Brian Broaddus, what I'm saying, former scout and everything like that. But if you've been watching Brian, like the one thing I don't agree with him. If I met him, I would tell him that I don't agree that he thinks scouts should scout and coaches should coach. So basically, you tell me your order and then you get out the room. I do not believe that at all. You need to include that coach in there because he's the chef and he knows his ingredients. And nobody knows his ingredients more than the chef. That's just me. And you can still do your job that way. And I love how Will McClay is open to that. They may not know like how the NFL is going to go and how, trends and stuff like that right now, but they know football. And that's all you really kind of need to know. And when you know football, you know what you need to look for. You feel me? So I especially with us having a young defense, young defensive court, like young defensive coaches. We got 2 coaches from college ranks, very young coaches. One coach in Ryan Smith, who only had 3 or 4 years in the NFL. That's going to be very important.
At the end of the day, they know football. And so football is played, it's 53.5 and it's 100. The hashes changes, but it's how you deploy your people and then how you get them in place and how they understand it. So everybody's got their own scheme, but it's do things match and tie together, and can the players pick it up and execute it at a high level? So
let me – hold on. So, I'm sorry, y'all. Let me because JVB, you brought up a good point, and let me just look at this, so y'all, because once I put my eyes on this, on his stats, because like y'all, like, I don't get the narrative of y'all don't believe in his production. Let me do this. Let me just look for myself. Pickens this year had 93 receptions for 1,400 yards. Last year, he had 59 for 900 yards. In 2023, he had 63 for 1,100 yards. In 2022, he had 52 for 800 yards. JV, that is wide receiver 1 production. And mind you, 2 of those years was with some of the worst quarterback play ever. Maybe people like, I don't get, if you're talking about accolades in terms of all pros, like that doesn't matter. He has production. He has production, man. He has 2 years, 2 years of over 1,000, one with 1,100, and he has another year of 900, and another year of 800. That's wide receiver 1. To me, I don't know. Like, let me look at what Garrett Wilson. See, Garrett had 1,000, 1,100. He had 1,000 all 3 years. 1,000, 1,100, 1,000, 1,100. I don't see that as not much differently than first year 800, next year 1,100, then 914. You feel what I'm saying? That's just me, JV. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that is enough production. That's enough production. If Garrett Wilson can claim that type of money, man, he definitely has a case. He definitely has a case, y'all. We got to stop throwing out that. Cowboys tag leverage, 28 million is too low of a number. Obviously, Pickens inflation market value, 40 million is too high. They'll meet in the middle, somewhere between. I mean, I'm like, that's realistic, but here's the key variable we're leaving out, Lando. David Mulugeta. That is a very big wild card. And David bend owners over. Derek Stingley deal. 39 million, 38 of it guaranteed. Deshaun Watson, 260 million fully guaranteed in the midst of all those cases. CD Lamb still produced when noodle arm lesser. QB ain't an excuse. Look up T Higgins stats. He's better than T Higgins. Jay, well, I'm not finna box score watch with you. I'm not. And you don't like those quarterbacks for the Steelers were terrible. I know Lamb still produced. I know that. But at the end of the day, that's enough. That's enough. We ain't finna box score watch. Because if we go player for player, one belongs in the room. T. Higgins is a wide receiver through and through. Like, y'all don't agree with me. Devonta Smith is a wide receiver 2 through and through. I don't ever believe he was a wide receiver 1. Y'all can believe that. I'm not ever believing that. But let me continue, because I don't ever believe that.
Does a 4-3 D end change on your board if a 3-4 new defensive scheme is being implemented?
Not really. It just depends if that end can he play a 5 technique, 6 technique, or can he stand up, can he run back? So those are all the things that you have to go through when you talk about putting pieces in the defense. And so there's more to it than, and I love you guys do some great mock drafts and all that stuff. But if you, if you don't know the nuts and bolts of the scheme, you can only throw, it's like, parts of a car. There's always a spark plugs don't fit in every car. Right?
So basically what he's saying is this. When you're scouting, it's important, even though like this guy may come from a 4-3 scheme, he's going to show traits, very good traits where he can definitely transition. This is why when the conversation of if Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson, can they fit Chris Parker's scheme, it is a no-brainer, because when you watch on the film, their coach has them dropping back like an outside linebacker, and they're covering ground with no problem. Getting to the hook to curl, getting to the curl to flat with no problem. You can see it when they take on a counter. If he can take on a counter, he can spill it back inside 2-point stance, nope. That's how you, and this is what Christian Parker was talking about in scheme-proof guys who are not dependent in a scheme. Like, who's the end we had in the past that, like, I think Taco Charlton, I don't think he fits a 3-4 at all. He has to have his hand in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because of his play. I'm just, like, there are certain players you can look and see that they don't fit. DeMarcus Ware was definitely, like, he was universal fit. He can put his hand in the dirt. He can stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like, Like, yeah. I see wide receiver. Yeah, he's a wide receiver too, man. I don't know who told y'all any different, but that boy, he is a wide receiver too, y'all.
Trying to build an engine, and you have to build the engine with the right parts.
We used to hear that mock drafts were used back in the dinosaur days that brought us over here.
They're used.
How so? And
in humor, we use it for fun. No, but dartboards. There's it's just like when scouts go out. There's a group think because they're in the same spot, listen to the same things.
Yeah, you're moving the goalpost, man. Because the same thing, like, the same thing can be said about them quarterbacks, man. Like, half them quarterbacks who making that money right now, they like, at no point I believe Tua should have been paid at top market. Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, after the Vikings, Kirk Cousins still being paid like that, I didn't believe it. But, like, at the end of the day, when you are that caliber of player, that's what you command. You're moving the goalpost too much.
So you're going to get information that comes back to you one way. So as you go through the process, you guys talk to people, and so I know who you're talking to, and so that gives me some insight into at least what people think. That, the general thought. So that does help you a little bit, and it makes you rehearse scenarios that you may not have thought about when you were putting the board together, strategy, whatever.
So how many rehearsals, Will McClay here on The Fan, how many different scenarios do you practice? Take us through that.
It used to be, it's funny, the evolution of analytics and, all this AI and all this stuff, so it adds more stuff to it. But we used to do 40, 50, you get all the scouts in, you do it, you do a bunch of them, okay, you take this team, that team. Well, now I can automate stuff. We have this thing on our program where I can run scenarios and take people out and do things and run 1,000 scenarios a day. But really just thinking about the clumps of people and the things and just trying to talk, make sure you are at least prepared to talk about things in the right way so that hopefully you make the right decision.
How much do league trends change the way that you guys evaluate from draft to draft? Does it ever change? Like, okay, the league's heading this way in terms of with the running game or whatever. So, all right, we need to find linebackers that are more like this or that kind of thing.
I think that there's a fundamental and a foundation of every position. So and I think you look for that, but there's little nuances that people look for. They're a little bit different. They're certain players. It's like the 5'9" to 6'2" corner where they play a little bit differently. So it's always a balancing act with all that stuff. I mean, to me, and so when you say the trends always come back. One of the things that's unique is
that's 100% correct. You know what I'm saying? That's 100% correct. Like, trends always come back. Like, right now, people don't believe us. It's a running league now. It is 100% a running league. Like, teams, like, everyone who loves Shanahan, McVay, all of them, like, all their entire, like, playbook is designed around the run game and taking advantage of the numbers, and matchups and everything like that. Like, I love Shanahan's like, offense is something like I won't hear in Dallas. And we got it. We're getting it right here with Clayton. Clayton's going to talk about it because that's one of his inspirations. Because the whole point of it is literally to play a numbers game and for everyone to win their one-on-one blocks, wide receivers included. You know what I'm saying? And that's why. And they put a dangerous back behind that in Christian McCaffrey. And like they will play the numbers game with you. And they have all these, these matchup mismatches, like a use check on your little ass, linebacker, or they have blocking receivers like Pershaw who's gonna come in and do their job, or they, Ayuk when he's healthy, when Debo was there, and they were all. It was just so. It was literally like he didn't overcomplicate it, but it looked so amazing to the casual eye. It's just literally football at its purest. And same thing with McVay. McVay like uses that wide zone. I love his run game when he had with Todd Gurley's and stuff like that, but Yeah, like trends go up and down. Like so, right now teams are playing a lot of nickel, heavy nickel, because they were trying to combat the heavy passing lead in the RPO offense by, you know what I'm saying, the offense is having, like, the athlete of the receiver is getting to a point, the athlete of the tight end is getting to a point that, man, having base players out there, we need our base players to be able to play in the sub nickel packages. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta have ends that can do more than just rush. We gotta have a nickel, which Christian Parker is talking about, that can literally play and be the counter to the game offenses want to play when they want to play the matchup game. Like we've been cooking your nickel corner all day with CeeDee Lamb. Now let me switch the nickel corner off of him, or now let me put Cooper DeJean at the safety and let him be the reinforcement. It's a mind game, and I love these games being played.
To me, is the old school when Brian and I first started in 12, 21, starting to come back.
Yeah.
Why? Because defenses are all quick. The defenses are dictating to offenses now, so now offenses have to play defense. So
that's a very but hey, I've actually never heard that before, that the defenses are dictating the offenses. And I think the reason why I say that is because of certain position groups are dictating everything. Edge rusher being one. Defensive tackle being another. Like the dominance of that. If you don't account for that before you call a play, you don't even have a chance.
Gets a drafter in trouble.
Good gets a drafter in trouble. Traits get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand how the traits are used.
Right.
Traits are nothing if you don't know what to do with them. So that's all. That's a big part of it. And
shout out to Armando. He said if we had Cooper, he would solve the slot issue. Man, if we had Cooper would solve every issue. He would solve our safety problem. He'll solve like the cornerback 2 problem. Like going back and looking at it after hearing Christian Parker, like the way he was using Cooper, like, man, it literally went under our noses. We didn't even see it. That sometimes he was the free safety, sometimes he was the strong safety, sometimes he was the linebacker. If we had Cooper, all of our issues would be easier to build this defense. I would tell you for sure.
I learned a new phrase that has stuck with me through CP and the defensive group, and they say their brain works. Okay, it's a very simple term, but when you watch it, you say, oh, this guy's brain works, and you can see the movement, you can see the different things, and so it comes in different shapes and sizes.
So when he said that, like I got like finally a term to call what I be using for my scouting. Like basically when I be seeing somebody, I'm like, okay, he thinks like a Will linebacker, he thinks like a Sam. It's basically like when you're put in the fight, what is your normal set of like reads, or like how did you play the game, like your normal reactions, your football DNA. That's what he's saying. Like, and like hearing him saying like how your mind thinks. So when I say Sonny Styles is a Will because he plays like a Will, like he plays like a weak side linebacker. People hate for me to say that. He like that's why I'm so like stubborn on the fence. Like he's not a Mike, because when I see him go in, try or like he's lined up in that plus, in that A gap, and they're doing a counter action towards him, his first mindset is to take a step back or take a step around and use his quickness. That tells me he has the mind of a Will linebacker. Like the Will backer is meant to slash. The Will linebacker is meant to like use his quickness, get to beat the guy to the spot. But like when knowing that, if you take him and try to put him at Mike, just know it's going to be a learning curve, because you got not only you got to like take out his way of thinking, you got to change his DNA.
If their brain works and they can manipulate and understand the 53 and 100 in situational, you have a chance. And that's very hard because there's a lot of players that have traits that are these guys that have to fit into something. And so you have to learn it. You have to become an expert at it. Then it has to become natural for those traits to show up.
So a quarterback hand size, does that matter?
It does, because you're throwing an object and at different points in time, you got to grip it. It's raining, whatever, and it does. Just physically, that's how you generate force and everything else. Yeah.
So, when you talk about their brain works, obviously you guys are still going through this process, so I wouldn't ask about that. But just if you think back over guys you've scouted in previous years, like, how does that apply? Who's a guy that stands out to you? Like, all right, that's somebody who I remember watching him and thinking his brain works. Like,
Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis.
When we drafted him, it's like, you look for the traits. You don't want ideally, you want the biggest, fastest, longest guy, all right? So now you have parameters, and if somebody falls below those parameters, they better walk on water with the traits that they do have. Yeah. And so in order for them to do that, 9 times out of 10, their brain has to work to make up for not being 6'1", 6'2", and so I have to get there faster. I have to anticipate, and those guys tend to do it.
So, like, when he says that the first guy that comes to mind in his draft is, like, Ruben Bain. So, like, when people are going, I see the memes. They hilarious, too. Photoshopping him with short arms. They see his size, like 270 or something like that. And early on, people were saying, like, is he an edge? I think he's a D tackle. And the moment I saw his film, because I went and I try to block out everybody, like, in terms of like, analysis. And I got my analysis, and then I started hearing everybody, people, like, I was just sitting here just like, y'all think he's a D tackle? I think he's probably the best edge in here because he plays like an edge. He does everything like an edge. He said, he takes on the block when it's time to spill, which means he takes his outside shoulder on the pulling guard and go and slashes on the outside to make sure, takes his outside shoulder, slashes on the inside of the guard to basically create a pile in that C gap, make the running back bounce. He'll box. You know what I'm saying? In his pass rush, he pass rushes like an end. He'll bend the corner, turn the corner. He does things like an edge. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even though, like, he does not have the typical long arms, which is needed to be on these tackles, like, he had one thing, the reason why I have him high is because he has that strength. He had, like, his hand fight is out of this world. Like, if you stop him, he has counters, which a lot of these ends don't. And honestly, personal preference, if you ain't got counters, I don't want you. Because, like, these tackles in this league, they're going to stop you on your first move. You feel me? And, yeah, I think that's the first name that comes to mind.
Will, I'm going to ask you, how does Will McClay know if a guy loves football?
You got to grind it. You got to start. It's easy to tell on tape.
You brought that up a bunch.
It's easy to tell on tape when you're watching the game. They might love the game, but you have to dig into the full process. Like, you guys got to study. You got to go through this. You got to come up with a bunch of stuff to kick people in the ass about and make them, that's your job. So you have to prepare for it. So it's the same thing.
But the meeting time you get here, what would be the ideal meeting time instead of 15 minutes?
15 minutes is
you can't get it, right?
It's like speed dating, and some people have speed dated and ended up with issues. So it's.
I understand you like him, Bailey, but Amadio, you think he reminds you of Khalil Mack? No for me, man. Hell no. I'm gonna be honest with you, Amadio. This is why it's very, very important that you don't take in the wrong draft knowledge from any creator. David Bailey, he's only looking like a one down rusher right now. He tested amazing. I knew it. He has agility out this world, but I can't trust him on first and second down. I can't. And I seen when I was watching full games of him. Oh no,
tough. But then it's the first chapter of the book you're trying to write on the guy. You have to figure that part out, and then at each chapter you dig as deep as you can, and you try and play the percentages and play the odds because we never know till you get them in your building.
If you have a player on your board who's an 8 at a position you already feel good about, and the next player's a 7 at a position of desperate need, who do you take?
It's tough. It depends on who's got the card.
You got the card.
I think you're never one player away, and so you always try and take the best player.
Yeah, you said he's basically like Michael Parsons. I 100% disagree with that. I do not see Michael Parsons and David Bailey at all. At all. That's just me, and we all entitled to our opinions. I prefer that we lose GP. Wait. If we lose GP, we lose him before the draft. I mean, and that's all I've been wanting to, JB. I ain't gonna lie. I just want them to come to a decision fast. I'm not with this drawing this out like the other contracts. It shouldn't take this long. It don't. You should know if the price is too high for you, then like offload him and get the picks. Because like I said, if y'all didn't catch me, just because we signed a non-exclusive tag, don't mean the Dallas Cowboys still can't just trade him. They still can just trade. We can literally go around this tag thing and we can just negotiate. And I think there's a way where the Dallas Cowboys don't have to, the price doesn't have to be 2 first rounds. That's the max for if they sign the offer sheet. It doesn't have to be that. There is another route.
But there's, people talk about the draft, position of need, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
When you draft, you're doing both. You're trying to find the best player, and you're always considering position of need. And so when you rank them, and you have to go through the process, at least we feel like you go through every year and you grade guys the same way at every position. You don't typically change. You don't want to change the value of something because you need it, because then you end up reaching for something. And, when you reach for something.
Micah Parsons wasn't Micah Parsons. Dan Quinn made him. Yeah, I do not agree with that at all.
Sometimes stuff falls on your head.
All right, so one more on this. They're both positions of need, but one is a position of more importance. How would that discussion go?
Well, it's the position of more importance. There's a lot of factors that go into it. You think of 4 years, 5 years, position, what the franchise tag or what's going with that position. So can I get 5 years on this position if it's close, as opposed to 4 years or things like that?
Do you look at who the free agents are?
Yeah. Well, no, that's all a part of it right now. You're going through what can I spend, who's available, what do they want, what's in the draft. How do you fill those holes? And you have to have a strategy, hopefully, that works out that way, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
What are the strengths of this draft position-wise?
I would say there's a unique set of defensive linemen that all have different skill sets, and so that's a strong group. I think that there's some safeties that are interesting in this draft too.
Can I ask you real quick?
Who was the one that put him at defensive end? Do you remember the situation? What happened, man? In order for him, DQ, to put him at defensive end, I think, didn't we lose Randy Gregory and we lost Tank? That was a break glass scenario. I'm supposed to give the coach credit for a break glass scenario? No, man, I'm sorry.
Quick question about the safeties, because now we've all started trying to find guys that might be the corners that are playing slots. How much projection have you done where, man, this guy's a kind of a slot corner player, but he might play in that hybrid role that we saw it with Dan Quinn playing the safety down and stuff like that. You're very familiar with that. But in this draft, it seems like we're kind of looking at more of those types of guys that people are playing.
Yeah, well, it's a unique position is that nickel, star, outside linebacker, safety. So what people do is take this unique athlete and put him in, because the hashes in college football are different. So if you can take something away on the short side, now I can deploy somebody in position that is almost So
what he's basically saying is the hashes are wider in college, so there's an actual boundary and like field personnel, which I vividly remember. Like the hashes are wide as I don't know what. That's why, like it's harder. I ain't gonna lie, it's naturally harder for quarterbacks to throw in the NFL because the hashes are not as the hashes are very skinny. So the boundary, technically, if you're on the right hash. Like the right boundary or the right hash in college and the right hash on what that little boundary throw is like a 12-yard throw rather than NFL. That's like a 30-yard throw now. You know what I'm saying? Or like in college, when them fat boundaries, sometimes like when you go to the field, if you had a receiver all the way down to the numbers and he just running like a simple curl route to throw or a comeback, man, that's how you know when a quarterback really got that. If he can put it on a rope 55 yards across for just like a 12-yard comeback or 20-yard comeback, oh, dog, you know what I'm saying? Because, man, but it's harder in NFL because it's not no defined hash line like he's saying. Like it's not as wide.
I'm gaining a number defensively because of their intelligence or because of their skill set and how they use them. And that's a unique part. And it's the safety position because they're also typically thinkers. It's the safety corners that can handle that spacing.
Yeah. We're having talks. This is just a talk show topic about windows and 3-year window, match it up with, Dak and all that stuff. But we're trying to figure out the positions that take the least time to develop that can contribute right away. Are there positions that stack up in your mind for that, Will? Like a DN, I can just say, go get the quarterback, or a running back versus...
I don't believe a DN is a non-developmental position. It's only non-developmental if you are a star out the bat. I don't think every DN could come in and just contribute right away. I think it takes 2 to 3 years to develop with a DN. I think people really like the entire defensive line has a developmental process, in my opinion. It's not easy to come in and get 10 sacks right off bat, especially not versus these tackles. Not back then either, when a tackle player was a lot better. Like, only if you come in and you are that guy, you would come in and get sacks. And that's like probably one guy per draft. You feel me? You said who can be our next D. Ware or Charles Haley, Max Crosby?
It might take a little longer.
I think running backs are probably quicker because it's more of a natural, instinctive position that, hey, you see things a certain way. If you know how to run,
We're running a 3-4. We don't need those type of DNs. No, we So yeah, let me go to let me finish this point. We're gonna go to Christian Parker. He's gonna explain his scheme.
How to run. The other positions, there's the little intricacies in it.
Besides quarterback, what takes longer?
What takes longer?
Besides quarterback.
The thinking positions, the center, the linebacker, the safety, they take a little longer because not only do you have to perform your physical part of your job, but you got to direct other people. And to do that effectively, you got to know what you're doing.
I agree. There's a mental curve. Let me get into Christian Parker so we can answer y'all questions with that, because his is the most important. I should have put his first, but I just wanted Will McClay to lay out, the GM aspect of it, because he is kind of the, he's just head of scouting and everything like that. But yeah, let me get to Chris, because I know he's very soon. We got a lot more. All right, yeah. So I wasn't gonna do all that. Here we go.
I think the fan Brian brought us is very embarrassed.
Yeah, let me smell you. Come
here. He's got great cologne.
You know what? It's kind of.
I think it's lotion. I think it's more lotion and not cologne. Christian Parker.
No, I'm not a scented lotion guy. I'm a cologne guy.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Let me get ahead of it, because in the basically they asked him about his shoes and everything, which it was interesting to know. That man got hella shoes. He's a sneakerhead for sure. Y'all he got shoes. Like still in the saran wrap that he ain't never wore, like this the original. Like he's definitely a collector. Like I don't want to play it because it's gonna get very long winded. But hey man, like this man's definitely gonna relate to the new generation of players, because
Fixer. He's like a mythical character to me. What
wants to lay low key. He doesn't like being out too much, but I don't wear a feeler. Something with kicks.
So how many
you don't know Nico, do you?
The Mamba?
No. But I don't play golf. Depends. Like certain shoes, I'll go years.
When you say that term, you think about somebody who's a good mental processor. Who's somebody that over the time that you've coached guys since you've been in the league that you say that's an example of I like guys who play like he does, or who process and read like he does?
Yeah, I would say when I was in Green Bay, Tramon Williams was probably the first one I was around in the DB room. He was so experienced. So we had him at nickel, and Tramon had seen every route concept in the world by then.
I ain't gonna lie, Amadio. So I hope I'm not saying Alvarez. I'm just saying Alvarez. We're gonna get into it, but I don't think Osa fits his scheme, and we need to offload Osa as quickly if we can. We need to offload Osa. He does not fit the more I'm hearing people talk about it, like Christian Parker's gonna talk about it and what he's gonna be doing. I don't think Osa fits this at all. I'm not even gonna cap to you.
So when 2 went out, he knew 1 was going quick. When 3 blocked, he knew the route was going 12 plus. Like a lot of those different intricacies of route detail, some of them I learned from him when I was actually in Green Bay as quality control. And then I would say at corner, Pat Surtain, just it's like things move in slow motion for him when he starts seeing things develop. He's never in a hurry, but you can tell that the wheels are turning. And Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, both of them at safety, just had a really good feel for that, especially a good feel off of each other. Their chemistry was significant. And then, to Philly the past 2 years, Cooper DeJean's probably the fastest processor I've coached. Once something happens, his feet and his brain are connected. He can just react and go get it, and his confidence is precise.
Notice how he always, man, like I'm telling you, I think, man, that nickel position that he's talking about, he keep bringing up. I think that's a very important because he always bring up Cooper DeJean. When he first, and I highlighted in my shorts, when he first went, Cooper DeJean was like the first one to respond, congratulating him. That Cooper DeJean role, we're gonna do our best to like replicate that here in Dallas, because and find the guy that what he's talking about. I'm not even gonna lie, it's gonna be very important that we find that.
He just knows what he's looking at, so you can tell him something Tuesday during the week or whatever, he goes and finds it. So
what about Nakobe Dean?
Oh, Nakobe Dean, he's a very quick processor as well. He does a lot of work in the film room during the week, so those things trigger fast for him too.
When you start to, we're trying to kind of pin down your scheme or what you're going to do. What if you were to just explain it in like layman's terms to like our audience? How would you describe what you're trying to do in a way that's going to pertain with the players they currently have on the roster?
Well, I mean, I think by structure, you're in a 3-4 structure in base with 4 defensive backs, but typically you're in nickel, right? So it's 4-2-5 essentially.
Okay. So that's why he said it's going to be 4-3 principle. It's still going to be 4 down. It's not going to be a traditional 3-4. It's not going to be just 3 D linemen. You know what I'm saying? No, it's going to be 4. It's going to be a 3-4, but we're going to be in a 4-3 alignment. That's the best way I'm saying.
Up front, you want to be in more of an attack and react style. So what I mean by that is the attack front is kind of known as you're flying up the field. Everybody's hot in the gap. Single gap fits on the second and third level. So you can create disruption, but sometimes you create vertical seams, in my opinion.
Okay.
So we're more of the create knockback up front, resetting the line of scrimmage, but squeezing blocks at the point of attack.
Yeah. So basically, they're going to be a combination of Eberflus's, what he wanted from his D tackles, and Zimmer. Zimmer, all he wanted, and this is why Mozzie flourished under Zimmer, all they did was come up in 2-gap, hold on route, and everything like that. They just read and react. But Eberflus wanted guys to just, or White Cotton, he wanted guys to just fly up the field. What they're doing is called a gap and a half, where you fly up the field, not all the way, fly up the field, read, and then if it's a run, squeeze the gap you have. So it's literally like me and Tuck was discussing, I think online one time, it's literally just a gap and a half principles. Like, you know what I'm saying? We have this gap, we have the A gap, but we also responsible for the next gap over. And another guy is going to be in the A gap and is going to converge in on that too. That's what it means. And so basically, I'm gonna love this on film because we're gonna basically be able to see who fault it is on the runs, especially.
So guys have to be able to play with their hands, their feet, and their eyes, essentially, to do that.
So is that so? When you're looking at, say, your front 7, you're talking about playing, and you're playing attack. Do you play? Is it downhill with your linebackers, or are they more of a?
Well, they have to play more downhill than flow stack and tracking the ball. I think when you can play the attack front on the D line perspective, you can go with quicker, faster guys. They don't have to grind blocks as much. They don't have to hold double teams because they're jetting up the field.
Right.
Which means that your linebackers, there still is an element because they have to play, play action pass. Usually those fronts are associated with true spot drop zone coverage. Okay. You think about like San Francisco, for example, the things that Fred Warner does in space and things like that. But when you do it that way, sometimes with certain run schemes and certain things like that, I just feel like there's a space. So if somebody gets kicked out, then things can wind back. And you have to, like, the resources, those teams that are really good in that front, you look on the front 7, it's like 3-4 first rounders.
Sure.
Like, you got to pay to play for that.
Sure.
Did y'all hear that? Why y'all been pushing so-and-so and everything on the front line? Why DN? Did you just hear why he emphasizes that? Because he's asking a lot from those guys, and they got to be like some of the highest tier guys. So when we say he's emphasizing a certain group or a certain, he's emphasizing that defensive line, man. I can't emphasize it enough. So if definitely we can kind of chalk up one of these first round picks going to be a DN, D lineman or something like that. We can chalk it up to that. And I got a couple of guys that I think he will like based off who he talked to. We got to get in. It's going to change within that, but you got to be able to fire off the ball, be able to drop back in 3 and 4. So when you fire off the ball, you got to be able to have enough strength to knock back the tackle, be able to have enough hand counters to be able to counter the tackle, you know what I'm saying, and get back to your gap. So you can't be a guy that be getting your hands folded like this, you know what I'm saying, getting pushed like that. You got to be able to have some pop to that, because you got he asking not for you just to get up in the gap. He's asking you to sometimes fold back in and press a gap that's being threatened by the run. He's asking a lot. And this is why me and Boss was yelling yesterday on that, like, we cannot be cheap when it comes to that, because he's emphasizing that, man. He says great players make the coach. That is not, we can't just give him anything. We can't give him anything. We can't.
So, like, people I've heard describe your, and I might be wrong about this, but I want to ask you, and I appreciate your response. You play like a gap and a half. Yeah. So can you explain when they start to talk about gap and a half to you, what does that mean?
So you want to have an attacking mindset in your primary gap. So you want to create knockback in that primary gap, but you're not just finishing up. You just have, that's your primary. When the ball shows up in another location, then you have a secondary gap.
Right.
So it's primary, secondary, and typically the secondary gap is shared with somebody else's secondary gap. Right, so if I'm an A-gap player and I'm going into the opposite A, then the linebacker's probably a B-gap player that's falling into that A-gap as well. So then that's when you're able to kind of eliminate that space and converge on the football, but you're playing it with your hands. At the second level, obviously, that's those guys being able to work lateral and then punch a hole in the front there. But at up front, you want guys to be aggressive because you have to convert to pass rush and everything like that. You know, so when you think about, like, this is when I was in Green Bay with KC, he was the best nose in football, in my opinion, at doing this style because he plays with good length and he has a good anchor. You know, Quinn and Win.
I mean, it's still very early, but I have guys that I think is worthy. It's some guys that I don't think is worthy that people are mentioning. I'm gonna go over the list like when all this is done. Like I'll flash it before we'll talk about Clayton Adams. You know what I'm saying, and everything like that.
This is how he played at Alabama. This is what Saban does in the mint front and everything else with that. You know, you're getting guys off the ball, but this is how you play the blocks in the run game in terms of just constricting that space and being able to use your hat and hands to arm over and fall back into another gap.
Cowboys defensive coordinator Christian Parker joining us here on 105.
Coach. I appreciate that.
So, Coach, you know, when you're talking about these different responsibilities and reading and reacting, would you say that the scheme that you're envisioning, you would say, hey, biggest priority for me is the mental side of it and the ability to read and react even more than just raw athleticism?
Yes and no. I mean, I still think that you want a lot of athletic, fast guys because there are going to be times where there's space and you have to eliminate it. So you don't want – we're not trotting out a team of, a YMCA basketball team. Right. You know, we still want to be fast and aggressive, but I will say there's a premium on instincts. There's a premium on the brain. At different spots, they have to handle a different mental workload in terms of where their eyes have to be, what could potentially happen if this happens. If 3 blocks, then it's this. If 2 blocks, then it's this. If everybody goes vertical, then this changes my job here, but it also affects these guys over here. It might be 2 guys looking at one person that kind of affects how we're playing 3 over, for example. So you want guys to be able to kind of process those things quickly, but you can't go out there just like with a bunch of height, weight, speed guys either.
Yeah.
You said I'm only saying that because I believe the Titans and receivers are going first round receiver and OT. Who's the top? Oh, Mwaga. I was say who's a? You know, like you see how I had to like process. It's not that many like first round linemen in my opinion in this draft. This is not like a rich like tackle class. I will tell you that. I got 2 guys that I'm very high on. Well, I'm sort of high on Mwaga, but I told y'all my guy, it's kind of still not changed. It's Ihenacker from Arizona State, you know. But sure, and then the Saints going receiver. They didn't go receiver last time, did they? They went lineman. So you might be right with that. But they also, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we definitely don't know because like it can definitely change because. They're literally offloading their books in terms of cap, so they can probably replace some guys on edge and everything like that. But what I wanted to bring up is like we can scratch off one name from this list if y'all been watching the film with me, and I'll make a video explaining more. David Bailey does not fit what we're trying to do. David Bailey does not fit at all. He didn't fit at all what we're trying to do. Like he just literally said he doesn't want just track meet guys. He want guys who can be able to think and perform and sit down and root. I don't think David Bailey can do that. Like he's in his words. He says it's going to be a time for space, which means when they're going to be able to cover, or he talking about third downs. But what he's asking his edges to do, I think the whole entire edge room got to be like 4-down rushes, and I don't see Davy Bailey as that. Like, he struggled versus the run in college, struggled heavily. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we can rule out him. I don't think Cassius Howell fit from A&M. Like Cassius Howell was, he was all right, but he wasn't a guy that was, could stand a tackle up consistently. I don't think Cassius Howell from A&M's that guy. Like, it's just not sounding like those guys. I'm just telling you right now.
This is not an operation where we're going to roll the ball out in the Whataburger parking lot and just play 7-on-7. You know what I mean? We got to be able to process and do those things the right way. So
that was smooth.
That
was very good.
Nice smooth Whataburger reference.
That was good.
I'm a spicy ketchup fan. So.
Oh, really? Oh my! The YouTube just blew up. You're blowing up the fan text.
So when I'm curious, how much have you seen? We've heard you are a big note taker. You keep a lot of records. You are very big on seeing things and learning from them and things like that. How much have you seen over your course in the NFL that hybrid nickel safety position change just in the last 5 years?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think when I first got in the league in 2019, that position was seen more so as like, the corner who's not fast enough, 7th round pick, undrafted guy, you throw him in there, he's only playing half your snaps, and you kind of have a role for him. He's a pass down guy. 5'10", 185, whatever. As time has progressed, especially as stuff has started moving from the college game, that is a specific position in college. When I was at Notre Dame, that was Drew Tranquil. Then Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah played that for us as well. That was his backup. Those guys ended up being linebackers. Then it kind of started moving down from the safety or corner position with a guy who can just do it all. So he has very good instincts, but you want that guy. It's not a throwaway player. Now it's a premium draft pick. So you think about, Cooper and the Trent McDuffies, Nick Emanuori. These are premium players you're finding because now you're in nickel 70-75% of the time, unless teams are in these ultra big groupings. So you need a guy who can be an every down player. So you kind of have a 12th starter in a sense in terms of, how you assess that player and what it looks like because he's on the field an awful lot. And he has to be able to play the run, play the pass. He eliminates the RPO screen game. He has to be able to do all of those things. So it's a Swiss Army knife.
When and I know you kind of hit the ground running here. You get hired, you come in, you study your team, you kind of know what you have. As you look at some of these, and I'm not going to ask you to name names for these current players or anything like that, but are there players in this draft that fit exactly what, in your mind's eye, that fit exactly what you want to do to get this defense going again?
Absolutely. I think that, it starts off with the film process.
Right.
Then you spend more time with them here, going to pro days, bringing them in on the 30 visits and figuring out the brain, right? We talked about that. And you don't want to get a finished product. You just want to know what the aptitude is like to see what that can look like. You don't want a lot of guys that are just running around in the dark just because they're, fast. You want guys who can think the game, and usually you can just tell how knowledgeable they are about their scheme. And then you just want to check the retention and kind of seeing how they explain those things. You just want to know what you're working with. And as long as the guy's it's not like a complete throwaway, then you can build on whatever he's at that current moment.
Has a kid ever blown you away on the board?
Yeah.
Where you just sat back and you go, this kid gets it?
Yeah, there've definitely been a couple over the course of my career.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me cut it there. So I'm gonna talk about this. Like I'll talk about Clay Adams. I'll probably make like a short on it, but because y'all are talking about draft picks, and I got this up. Let's go immediately talk about the draft picks in there, because that's what I want to do. I want to talk about these draft picks too. All right, so let's see if I can see that. So like these are from, and I need to get the updated list on if they they should have talked to some people today because DBs are running right now. I'm very interested to see that and everything like that. So let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me put y'all up right there. So, all right, let me make this smaller. They talk to like all these guys are, key names I see is Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, David, Sonny Styles, Peter Woods, Cassius Howell, Akeem Messidor, Caleb Banks, CJ Allen, Parker, R. Mason Thomas, Jacob Rodriguez. I know Josiah Trotter, Malachi Lawrence. I've seen that name. Harold Perkins. I got to still scout him. All right. So I'm going to give y'all an early list who I think like really much so fits his team in terms of and everything like that. Like, so I know the fan favorite is Sonny Styles, and I know y'all really much so love him. I don't think, for one, I don't think linebackers is a true need for the Dallas Cowboys. For one, I think they're gonna actually be serious and go after one of these guys, like Nakobe Dean, and he's gonna be the Mike, as in the middle linebacker. And once we establish the Mike, the middle linebacker, like I think that the need, like we still need to find the next and up and coming, probably in the later rounds. But I don't want to invest high resources to like any of these guys, because honestly, this draft is lacking a lot of inside linebackers. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like it's the non like noteworthy names that are the true ones. As far as edge, I don't think David Bailey fits, but they still talk to him. They may see something and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think David Bailey is going to fit. I really don't. Based off what we're talking, we're asking our edge to be able to gap in half. Like, that's first and second down. David Bailey very much so struggle with that. I am praying that Ruben Bain somehow falls to us, because I think that's primarily what we need. That is a wish. That is something we can definitely need, we'll definitely take and everything like that. Like, I'll take Ruben Bain. Caleb Banks is interesting name for me as well. Because the only reason why I think they'll possibly do that is because, like I said, I don't think they view Osa as like somebody who's like truly like, what is it? They don't view him like it's truly like somebody. I'm very much so under the impression they don't view him like somebody that can fit what they got going on. And I think Caleb Banks playing at 3-4 at Florida, being at 4-eye, because they said it like they want their edge to be this 4-eye, or they want Osa to be this 4-eye run defending type. Like, that's literally the words that came out of their mouth when I heard that. And when they said that, and they said that that's gonna be primarily Osa, I'm like, oh, that's definitely not Osa and everything like that. Like, that to me, that's not Osa at all. Run defending, having a like firing up the field, pass rushing, Osa's your guy. But as far as like being able to like run defend, Osa's pretty much has never been that, like in my humble opinion. Another guy who I absolutely love, and I think nobody is really talking about that really fits, especially at 22, is R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. I think he's an absolute dog, and he would definitely fit what we're trying to do here in Dallas. Like, I loved his film at Oklahoma. I actually hated his film before I saw the Tennessee game and I saw the play where he got hurt, and I was like, oh, that's what happened. And I looked at the schedule, and from Tennessee, like, he was on the injury report in terms of like a high ankle sprain. You know what I'm saying? But to this point, that is definitely healed. But I watched the film before that Tennessee game. Oh, he's definitely, if he never got hurt, I think he would have been one of the premier edges in this draft. 100%. Like, pay attention to R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. TJ Parker, I think he will fit, but he's more developmental for me. Not much hand fight and everything like that. CJ Allen out of Georgia, I would not take in the first round, in my opinion. Like, I just don't. Like, he's a good run defender in terms of linebacker. He's like one of the few mics in this draft, but in terms of like I don't think he's very athletic. I don't think he can dissect as quickly as I want him to. Yeah, Sonny Styles. Let me get into my plans and everything like that. Sonny Styles, I think if you're gonna take Sonny Styles, I think he's primarily a will linebacker only, or he can be your guy that you can like think about moving to the nickel position. Hint, hint, wink, wink, and it's not insane at all. You saw him run that 4.49 high, shuttle and everything like that. But the only reason why I'm doing that is because, like, he had two different coordinators there at Ohio State, and they used him completely differently. And he's a former safety. He's checking all the boxes that Christian Parker was mentioned in terms of the nickel being able to come in the box like a linebacker, rush off the edge like a defensive end, be safe, be able to like play safety a little bit. I think Sonny Styles can low key do some of that. The only thing I have questions on is his feet in terms of, you know what I'm saying? His feet like for corner. Can he cover like a corner? I don't think he can do that. But, like, don't be surprised if we take one of these linebackers or what Will McClay mentioned. Like, there's a new position in college called the star. And I think a sneaky pick, y'all, that we can get that actually can fit this is Kyle Lewis from Pitt. He can probably be our nickel. Like, his entire film is coverage based. They, like, talking to Tuck, like, he did a little bit more, like, digging. Like, they created the new position in star for him and his skill set. He is not an inside linebacker, and I was watching him. Man, he's not really an outside linebacker either. You know what I'm saying? But he's playing a linebacker position, but he's always in coverage responsibility. I think Kyle Lewis is probably our future nickel, and I'm gonna bring him up a lot. He's listed as a linebacker, and I just saw reports that Kyle Lewis is gonna come back out and do some DB drills. Like, I really think that. JV Boy said, what about Dylan, your guy from Oregon? I have Dylan Thieneman very low on my list in terms of safeties. JV Boy, I'm gonna keep it real. I have Dylan Thieneman very low on my list in terms of just in terms. Like, I have him very low on my list. And I can read you, like, you know what I'm saying? Let me, like, I'll give you what I have for him on my notes for him. Let me see, where's my safety? I'm not gonna show it, but I'm gonna read it to you. Cause I definitely did him. I did a few safeties. I said, Dylan Thieneman, safety, Oregon Duck, stands about 6 foot, 205 pounds. I think he's best suited as a free safety only. He's only a free safety. Like, he, good in the split high or one high coverage, being the guy to reinforce. He reads the field rail, processes route combinations, stays in position, particularly. But while Oregon moved him around, which a lot of people think he's a nickel, they moved him around a lot. They had him playing corner, they had him playing nickel, they had him coming up in the line of scrimmage. His movement skills and his instincts clearly fit like a deep safety rather than a box safety. I don't think he's a box safety at all. Like, his athletic ceiling is very limited. I think his tackling is very inconsistent. I don't think he can give you little to any support in a run game. Like, he doesn't bring enough thump to be labeled like the strong safety. And that's why, like, I would literally use him primarily as covers, and I want him to improve, like, his athleticism. That's just my honest, what I'm saying? I have, my grading system goes by, like, I do, like, I give somebody, like, a Madden rating. So I gave him an 82 out of 99. Like, like, I gave him pretty high, but it may, like, it might even go down if it went, because when I'm done looking at these safeties, like, a safety y'all need to like look at that's clearly better than him is Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Like, he's a dog. Oh my God, that guy, that Toledo safety, y'all need to look at that Toledo safety. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? He said he could replace Hooker. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm not drafting no free safety that high. I need a little bit more activity. I'll rather draft the guy I'm talking about, the Toledo guy. I want my safeties to be active, to be able to come up, and, like, I want them to be versatile. I really think McNeil Warren, the safety from Toledo, is a lot better than that Thieneman. I really do. I don't know if he just ran a 42, but, like, this guy is athletic. And at Toledo, you watch him on film, they was doing what we finna get ready to do. Like, they had him sometimes being the guy on the line of scrimmage, covering a number 2 on Hut on the snap. He got to go all the way back to the deep half and be the free safety. Like, they were doing some extreme disguises with him. He's extremely athletic and he unafraid. He's a dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna continue to look at these safeties, but I got Thieneman low, and I was interested because I was hearing the hype and everything with him, and then I did not see. I'm gonna always keep it a beam with y'all. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I really am. But I'm excited. I don't want Peter Woods. Arvell Weiss, I think he's gonna be an edge rusher. That when you say Micah Parsons. And he's not a Micah Parsons like, but he's going to have that Micah Parsons arc where he's going to be a linebacker classified and be rushing. He's going to be a rushing linebacker. He's going to be that. I said that on film. I said that on Twitter too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to be that. Jacob Rodriguez, I think y'all was asking me about him. Jacob Rodriguez, I think he's going to be a good player, but he's going to be a very much so development. He's entirely undersized right now for the linebacker position. And you can tell because I think they reported that he is skipping or already skipped the bench press. You know what I'm saying? Like he's somebody like Anzalone that I think when he get in the building, he gonna work his ass off. And he's gonna be something like he's very smart. You know what I'm saying? Sees it, can cover everything like that. But the thing is, his body, he got to get bigger because right now he is not ready for them trenches. They're gonna run his ass over. Just keeping it a beam. But right now, but him continuing to work, getting the special teams, yeah. Now you talking. But yeah, shout out to everybody coming through, man. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Clayton Adams for like another video or something like that. We pretty much already went almost two hours, but appreciate y'all for coming through, man. I gotta get up out of here, man. Make sure to turn on a like, share it, and notification bell and everything like that. But I love y'all, man. Until next time, peace.